I've had this for a bit now, and a few people asked me about it, so here is my take. This is the kind of electric motorcycle that makes sense for someone who wants a commute that feels more like riding a small motorcycle than riding a bicycle. If you are coming from basic electric bikes that top out at more casual speeds, this feels like a different category. I have been using it for errands, short commutes, and some longer rides when I have time, and it has been a mix of fun and very practical, with a couple of real trade-offs you should know about. The first thing you notice is the shape. It has that stretched out, chopper-style silhouette, and in person it sits long and low. People definitely look at it when I roll up, mostly because it does not look like a typical electric bike. The frame feels solid. It is carbon steel, and mine is finished in matte black, which hides dirt better than glossy paint, but it also shows scuffs if you bump it in a garage or brush it against something. The seat is wide and scooped, and it is one of the main reasons I can ride it longer than most other bikes without feeling stiff. The front forks on mine are gold, which is not something I normally care about, but I will admit it makes the front end look a little more put together. When I throw a leg over it, the riding position feels different from most electric bikes. The wheelbase is long and the bike feels planted. At low speeds it does not feel twitchy. It just tracks straight. That stability is a big deal in real traffic, especially when the road surface is rough or uneven. Weight is the first reality check. This is heavy. The listed weight is around 210 pounds, and that matches how it feels. If you have to drag it up a step, turn it around in a tight hallway, or lift it onto anything, you are going to feel it. For me, the way around that has been simple. I park it in places where I can roll it straight in and out. If your living situation involves stairs or you need to carry it, I would not pretend that is going to be fun. Once you are actually riding, the weight matters a lot less. The motor power is what changes the experience. It is rated at 4,000 watts, and what I feel is immediate pull when I twist the throttle. The torque hits right away, and it does not feel like it is struggling. I live around some hills that usually make weaker electric bikes slow down hard, and on this one I can hold speed up the climb without that laggy, fading feeling. The company mentions up to 170 Newton meters of torque, and I cannot measure that myself. But I can tell you it climbs confidently with my weight on it and a backpack, and it does not feel stressed doing it. Top speed is another thing people ask about. I have seen speeds up to around 50 miles per hour on straight, open road conditions. I am going to say this plainly. At those speeds, you need to ride it like a motorcycle, not like a bicycle. You need space, awareness, and good gear. The bike itself feels stable at speed, but your environment matters more than the spec sheet. I mainly ride it at lower speeds in town, because that is what makes sense where I live. Battery life has been strong in my routine. The battery is a 72-volt, 35-amp-hour lithium battery. What that means for me day to day is that I can run errands for a couple days without thinking about charging, depending on how hard I ride. On a full charge, I usually land somewhere between 60 and 80 miles. If I ride fast, accelerate hard, and deal with more hills, it drops. If I ride calmly and keep speeds reasonable, it stretches. That range behavior feels honest compared to other electric vehicles I have used. Real range depends on how you ride. Charging has been manageable. I typically see 3 to 4 hours to get back to full, which works for my schedule. I can plug it in after dinner and it is ready later, without needing to wait overnight. The battery management system is doing its job in the background. Again, I cannot see what it is doing, but the battery has been consistent and predictable, and that is what I care about. Suspension is one of the reasons I have kept riding it instead of letting it become a weekend toy. The front fork is aluminum alloy, and it feels sturdy over broken pavement. The rear shock is hydraulic and adjustable, and I did actually mess with the adjustment until it fit my weight in the roads I ride on. Where I live, potholes and patchwork asphalt are normal, and a lot of bikes beat you up over time. This one still hits bumps, of course, but my hands and lower back feel better after longer rides compared to stiffer setups. Braking is also where it feels more serious than a typical electric bike. It uses hydraulic disc brakes front and rear. In real use, it means I can slow down with less hand effort and more control. The stopping power feels consistent even when I have been riding for a while. I have had to do a couple quick stops in traffic, and the brakes felt predictable. That matters more to me than any speed number. Now the daily use stuff. The display is a color liquid crystal display, and it is easy to read while moving. It shows what I actually need, like speed and battery. It is also rated for water and dust resistance, and I have ridden through wet roads without issues. I do not try to soak it, but normal weather has been fine. There is a phone holder up top that has been more useful than I expected. I use it for navigation, and it fits my phone without me having to fight it. There is also wireless charging, which sounds like a gimmick, but in practice it helps on longer rides. It is not magic. If your phone is running bright screen navigation and data all day, it might still drain slowly, but it does a lot to keep the battery from falling off a cliff. Lighting and signals are set up like you would want if you are riding around cars. The headlight has high and low beams. There are turn signals. The tail light brightens when you brake. There is also a license plate mount. I am not giving legal advice in this video, because rules vary by place, but I will say the hardware is there to make it easier to set up as a road-going machine where that is allowed. The seat deserves a little more credit. It is an extra-wide air cushion style seat, and it is the reason I can do longer rides without constantly shifting around. I deal with occasional lower back pain, and on this bike I stay more comfortable than I expected. The riding position is relaxed, and the bike does not feel like it is forcing me into an aggressive lean. Tires are wide and they feel planted. I have ridden on pavement, rough streets, and some gravel. It handles gravel and dirt paths fine as long as you stay realistic. This is not a dirt bike. The weight and size mean it is happier on roads and smoother trails than on technical off-road routes. Setup is not hard, but it takes time. It arrives about 85% assembled. I had to finish the last portion myself. The instructions were decent and the tools were included, but you still need patience and a little confidence. If you are not comfortable with assembly, I would honestly recommend taking it to a local shop for a safety check. With something this fast and heavy, I think that is just common sense. There are a few small frustrations I noticed over time. Moving it around with the power off is awkward because of the weight, especially if you are trying to maneuver in tight spaces. If you plan on doing very long rides all day, you will need to plan charging, because even with good range, you can outride a battery if you are going fast. I also think the bike is at its best when you treat it like a motorcycle and give it room. In crowded bicycle paths, it can feel like too much machine for the space. Overall, my experience has been that the eAhora M8S is a practical electric motorcycle for someone who wants strong acceleration, stable road manners, and a comfortable seat for real rides. It is not something I would recommend to someone who needs a light bike they can carry, or someone who wants a simple pedal-focused electric bicycle. But for commuting on streets, running errands, and riding for the enjoyment of it, I have genuinely liked living with it, and it has held up well in my routine. You can view detailed information about the eAhora M8S 4000W electric motorcycle in the comments section. Thank you for watching.